Wow. Where were you sailing, Easton?
In the Marmara Sea, not too far from Istanbul.
MashaAllah. That's so adventurous. It looks like very adventurous. Were you, who else was with you? You appeared that you were a captain, but I don't believe that you were captain. You were...
Why not?
No, come on. You were a measly passenger. You are posing there as if you own the yacht.
Okay, the jig is up. So the boat is not mine. So that's a rented boat. So
Oh, you rented and you were the one who's riding it? What do you drive? What verb do you use for boat? You see, I am so foreign
so
for this
that's
kind of lifestyle.
that's very interesting. The vocabulary of the seaman is a combination of different languages spoken in the Mediterranean Sea. Certain expressions, they start with Greek and end with Bismillah. And some others, they start with Latin and then they end again with Bismillah. So when you start with Vira Bismillah.
Vira.
Yes, that's the Greek term. And when you stop and you drop the anchor, you say Funda Bismillah. Means
Funda Bismillah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So the pirates and the seamen in the Mediterranean, they have this some sort of Creole. They combine different expression and languages in the area. So I'm learning a new thing every day. So that's new to me as well.
Okay, Sten is working in New Jersey. I forgot his line of work. He's in health business.
Yeah, biomedical engineering.
Hi, he's in biomedical engineering. Now he is, because of COVID-19, he decided to go to Turkey months ago, and he's stuck there. And the company
I'm not
wants...
stuck. I'm very happy. I'm not stuck. So I'm very happy. You are stuck in US.
Yes. He's a troublemaker, and now he's enjoying. He's working there in. Are you in Istanbul now, or?
I am. Yes.
MashaAllah. Welcome, and we have Mirahil from New Jersey too. He just joined us before you didn't hear him. Okay, and we have one more person for introduction, and then we start chatting. We have Barish. And he can unmute himself. He wants to talk. And we have who is owner. There is someone calls himself owner, which is interesting. In the chat we have something.
Hi, this is Barish from Los Angeles. Nihal is my wife, but she's using the headset, so I joined from my phone. And yeah.
MashaAllah, nice to see you, Barish. And
Thank
Nihal
you.
is quiet, he's not introducing you to us. Okay. MashaAllah.
I did.
Okay, and Nihal, you do introduce yourself to friends if you want. Also.
Okay. I live in Los Angeles. I came here like 3 years ago, and now I'm working in a project in UCLA. I'm studying physics, and yeah, I think that's pretty
Is Barish also studying something?
No, he quit. We used to study in Turkey physics, and when we came here, he started to work for a company.
MashaAllah. And what subject on physics you are focusing on?
High energy physics.
High energy physics. Does it include laser or something different?
It's about the accelerators. Subatomic particles, they're colliding the subatomic particles to create a very similar conditions like the very beginning of the universe. They're trying to create this state of matter to understand the origin of the matter, mostly.
Oh, this is about accelerator, correct?
Yes. Correct.
When you say high energy,
I'm not actually going to accelerator labs because I don't have the legal permission. I'm just the participant of the project. I'm just doing the calculations, but yeah,
I have a friend of mine at Stanford University. In fact, he was the head of the new accelerator. They were building new accelerator, but this is a circular one instead of the linear one.
Like in the CERN, I actually didn't know that.
No, at Stanford now is building a very new, I don't know whether it's finished or not, but he was the head of that committee designing a new accelerator. And they keep finding new particles and new particles. Very interesting, fascinating thing. I'm reading recently, yes, go ahead.
Actually, we were having meetings, we had some signals which could be indicating a new particle, and we were so excited, and it was like very related to my project. And it turned out that it was some tracking issue, and we just realized that yesterday. And actually, I feel a little bit down today, because I was very hopeful, but.
And how many particles so far are there, subparticles? In the past, I'm not very, I'm not clear regarding particles, because they were looking for the 19th particle. They call it God's particle. You know, you remember there were a lot of, many years ago, there were a lot of buzz and excitement about that article. What was it? I forgot its proper name. They call it nickname God's particle.
Yeah, it was the nickname, the God's particle.
Yeah.
Higgs boson. It was.
Yeah,
but it was 2011, I think they discovered.
Yes, it was the 19th particle. But on the other hand, I was reading some information about subatomic particles. In one of them was saying there were about 1,800 particles. Now, I don't understand why 19th particle became so important, why it's a very small number compared to 1,800. If it is 1,800 plus, then I don't understand. Do you have an idea about that? Why I got two different numbers regarding?
For that part, I actually don't know about there's 1,800 particles. For elementary particles, there is a table, like, I think one time I tried to count to see if the Higgs particle is actually the 19th particle, but there's two types. One is matter particles, what we call like quarks, and we have, I think, 6 of them, and leptons, again 6, and 4 bosons, which are not actually matter particles, they are force carriers, and the Higgs is the force carrier for gravitation. So in another boson, they are counting or not, I'm not sure for that. If they count that, it's the Higgs boson gonna be the 19th particle, but if they don't, it's, I think, 18. So, but I actually didn't hear about 1,800 particles.
That's interesting. Maybe I confused maybe some numbers. Maybe it is the size of the proton compared to the size of the mass of electron. Whether that number came from, but I need to check it. I know it is a blunder on my side. There was just a piece of information creating noise in the background when I read. Recently, there are a lot of articles and studies done in quantum physics, and they come up with weirder ideas about the beginning of the universe, and but the basically what is the matter and all these things. Yeah, it is fascinating area. I congratulate you. I know it is also boring at the same time because we will be hearing only the fruit, but until you get the fruit, you do a lot of years of torturous, tedious work. And it's just numbers, data, analyzing them, putting them in computer. Most of it is not a glamorous job. I know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. The only scientific research I did while I was a freshman student, you know, I had some science background before coming here. I applied as a student. I became assistant in geology department. And I had a computer and I had GPS. I'm talking about 1991 or 1992. That time, people would not know what a GPS stand for. It was not common. And I had a big GPS and I would go locations in Tucson, sometimes top of the mountain, sometimes in the middle of nowhere, big location. I would, whole night, I would be collecting data from satellite and then calculating the height of that particular point. And the height of that point would get information throughout the year. And therefore, we're measuring how much the ground of the Tucson was sinking by calculating the height through satellites and during the year. And then we came out in 1 year, it was sinking few inches and it was very kind of solid information we got because the groundwater, they were taking more water that was more than that it would replenish. And therefore it gave some idea, no, you need to find another source of water besides the groundwater. Therefore, then Arizona had a treaty with Colorado or Utah to divert part of the rivers coming from those. And then we started having some water from rivers. Yeah, that was, but I would be alone in the middle of desert. I was just collecting data until late midnight. Anyway, Ahmed, nice to see you. I know that we missed many friends because of the technical problem. And half an hour later, I opened this Zoom. I apologize for those who came here before. Ahmed, you too, it is good to really get to know each other a little bit, discuss your experiences in business, in your own life with each others. Sometimes we need small chat. Ahmed, unmute yourself, please. Oh, no, you don't have voice. You may have microphone problem.
Hello.
Okay, now we do hear you, Ahmed.
Yeah, I think my microphone wasn't working on this headset. Is there a lot of background noise here?
A little bit.
I'll switch off the AC then. I'll be right back. Sorry.
No, it is not AC. It is not AC.
Is it? Okay. Well, I switched it off.
It was not AC. There is some kind of echo.
Oh, okay. It must be my room, I think.
That's okay. Just.
All right. So I don't really understand much physics or anything. I'm an economics and statistics graduate, and I worked 2 years. I did a couple of months in UBS, Union Bank, Switzerland, and now I work for RSM, a consulting company. And I work mainly in financial advisory auditing, and so I do tax auditing, and I do fundamental analysis for firms. It's very boring stuff. It's not really.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay.
That's it.
Are you working on your own, or you work with a company?
I work with a company.
Okay.
Right now, my project is in a recycling company. They have some problems with their VAT balance, and they haven't, and they have some problems with the amount of tax they pay because they.
Don't give information much about company.
Oh yeah. No. It's okay. That stuff is available to the public anyway, right?
Okay.
But they also have some issues with standard Egyptian problems with getting their export subsidies, right? So we give export subsidies here in Egypt, and a lot of the companies don't get it, and they put it in their income statement, and then they end up paying more income tax while they don't have the tax subsidy, so they don't know what to do. And it's just like, it's really boring stuff, basically. In Egypt, I would say consulting is really important because the law is not as well defined as it is in developed or Western countries. So a lot of the businesses that have capital can really loophole the taxes to their advantage if they want. And that's basically what I'm doing. Maybe it's haram what I'm doing, you know, but like for now it pays well. So, you know, I just, that's what I do. Financial advisory.
MashaAllah, that means you are participating from Cairo, I assume.
Yes.
Really, we have people from Cairo. Nice to see you. MashaAllah.
Hello, everyone.
Barish, we missed Barish, your Nihal's husband. And what are you up to, Barish?
After I finished my master's degree, I finished it on magnetic nanoparticles, and then we came here, and then I got a certificate from UCLA for the systems analysis program, and then I started on a job, which is software testing. I'm testing the website for a medical company. So if there are any problems that physicians use that website, and then if they find any issues or for the new releases, now I'm working on that. And we also have a mobile app, and also we are also testing that one. So yeah, I'm away from physics now, but still I'm using my physics background because it helps much when you are learning new technologies and everything. And that's all for now. Yeah, I'm working for the that software testing and software verification team on the company.
MashaAllah. And you talk about nanoparticles, but what you are doing is software related, correct?
Yes, correct. I did the nanoparticles, then we came here, but in here I couldn't find any place. And I also wanted to move to industry instead of, because when you do nanoparticles, it's mostly defense industry, and they're asking for the citizenship or at least a green card. So for that reason, I started with the company instead of following the academics route.
Yes. MashaAllah. Nice to meet you here, Barish. And we have all Waisal Demir. That's it. What happened? Ustun left here. We had Ustun, the yacht guy. Waisal, go ahead. Waisal, you need to unmute yourself. Okay, maybe he's not available. Okay, anyone would like to share something in information, good stuff, experience with others? Recently, I learned something. Let me start with myself. Many things we learned, but one of them was about the Quran. You know, there are 365, the frequency of the word day in the Quran. And the word month occurs exactly 12. The word day occurs 365, equal to the number of days in a solar year. Recently, we came to see that the word month, it starts in chapter 2, one of the verses. The first occurrence, the word month, shahr, and the last occurrence of the word month, shahr. It is shahr in Arabic in the Quran. Between them, there are exactly 354 frequency of the word. When you check the list of the word yawm, means day, in singular form in the Quran, it is 365. And then you say, check also the frequency of the word month, and then you find out that where the first month is mentioned and when the word last mentioned in the Quran, between them exactly 354 frequency of the word yawm. And this is very fascinating, detail inside the detail, relations inside the relations. We see that all of them so meaningful, incredible. And the word Qamar is mentioned 27 times. And then we see with the occurrence with the sun, Shams, it is exactly 19 times. And because every 19 years, they come, the sun, moon, and the earth, they line up. It is called Meton cycle, M-E-T-O-N cycle. And in the verses where the word Qamar means moon, and the sun, Shams, mentioned together, it's 19. And the 19th one is talking about when the moon and the sun came together. It is so much details. And it was fascinating when I heard about those details. Okay, anyone who is have some news in their area of interest? I know we are doing chat because I missed half an hour at the beginning. I was hoping that we'd have one topic, focus on that one. But since we miss it, it is better just to chat, share ideas, fears, hobbies, whatever you have. And Brother Najafi has written a book. He has a very challenging idea. In that book, he argues that Sabbath means Saturday should be also observed by us, by followers of the Quran. And it is interesting, though there could be some questions, maybe objections to his position. He mentions Sabbath. He says that the Quran mentions Sabbath always in positive way, observing Sabbath, and it is one of the 10 commandments, and all the rest of the 10 commandments is also promoted in the Quran, and therefore why Sabbath should be an exception. And correct, this is the summary of what you were saying, and he lists verses from the Old Testament and New Testament regarding Sabbath, and the Quran supports those books, authenticate them. Therefore, there is no reason to believe that we are not also obliged to observe Sabbath. But a counter question would be an objection to your conclusion, Brother Najafi, is there are some other verses regarding certain commandments to Jewish people, but we are not asked to follow those. For example, God says we prohibited for them lard or internal fat of animals, correct? The fat of animals internal somehow for Jewish people it was prohibited, but for us it is not. Or like eye for eye, teeth for teeth, that kind of mutual, whatever it's called, symmetric punishment. And do you think also we are also obliged to follow those? That I think you should, did you address these questions, these objections in the book? Because I browsed it. I didn't read letter by letter.
Right.
Yes.
What I mentioned in the book is that the God's constitutional law, the 10 Commandments, I see it as a God constitutional law. That's for everyone, and that's not changeable. The way that God put it into the stone. And it's not from the time of Moses. It's been way before Prophet Moses. These laws have been in place. For the last time, he put it into the stone. And finally, in the Quran, it's been mentioned greatly. Now, one thing that people misunderstood or mistranslated, or they have been brought up with, is that Quran is the only book that we need. In fact, when Dr. Khalifa said Quran is the only book that we need, he meant that we need the Quran, not the Hadith, not any man-made laws and rules. What has happened, the original laws that we know of, that we have in hand, is in the Torah. Some of these laws have been remained. Some of them are being modified. Some of them are being canceled. And I detail some of them very lightly in the book. I give you some example. For example, 1.5 billion Muslim men, 1.5 billion are Muslim, but among these 1.5 is some men, some, let's say 40% of them, they are being circumcised. Where does it say in the Quran that you should circumcise your boys? Nowhere, absolutely nowhere. Not out of 6,234 verses of the Quran, you find a verse that it says circumcise your boys. Where does it say it? It doesn't say it. So why the Muslims are doing it? You go back to the original book of law, which is the Torah, on the book of Genesis, chapter 7, I believe, that God made a covenant with Prophet Abraham that you, your sons, your servants, whoever is within your community, and your follower should be circumcised. And God says, this is a sign between me and you. That's one example. The other one, some of these laws I said are being canceled. For example, on chapter 2, verse 187, I believe, that it says, during the month of Ramadan, you can approach your wives, and we knew that you were disregarding this law in the past. We are aware of it, but from this point on, we allow it. So this law is being canceled in the Quran for the followers of the Quran. And some of the laws are being reduced or modified, such as in the Torah, it says, the previous book of law, the Almighty God tells us that if there is an adulterer and adulteress, you find them, you prove it, then their punishment should be death. And it's been said many times throughout the Torah, as well as the New Testament. When I say New Testament, that first I must mention that the term Original Testament, Old Testament, New Testament, and Final Testament, it's absolutely wrong terminology. That's misguiding everyone, throw everyone out of the path. Now, in the New Testament, primarily the four books of the Matthew, John, Luke, and Mark, it's been mentioned as well that penalty for the adulterer and adulteress is death. But that one has been reduced in the Quran by 100 lashes. And the list goes on and on and on. Now, these are some of the somewhat secondary laws, but the primary laws, the God constitutional laws, if you wish, are not changeable. They have been repeated. It's been originated and it's been set in the Torah, and it's been put on the stone, and it's been repeated in the Quran. Today's so-called Muslims, whether they are Mohammedans or Sunnis or Shias or Sufis, whoever they are, at least they follow and admit that they follow 9 of them. But the only one, Sabbath, they don't follow. Why? And that's where I talk about it in the book, and brought it up to everyone's attention that it must be done, regardless of what we have been put in the wrong path by all religious rulers. Of course, don't look for the book because I unpublished it, and I'm gonna modify it with more details. And I did unpublish it because right after I put the book in the public, few days later or a couple of weeks later, 2 FBI special agents showed up to the door and they start questioning. So my family were very...
Why?
There are some statements in there. They didn't refer exactly to the book, but I don't think anything otherwise because there's nothing else I'm doing in my life that they should be concerned. The last time that they show up to the door, the 2 FBI agents showed up to the door, it was 2004, 16 years ago, when I started passing the Quran translation of the Dr. Khalifa to every single top officials of the state in the Salem. And I start having the program and being in public, talking about Islam, interviewing people, and start the program, TV program that you most likely remember it. You were a guest as well one time. That was one time, but after that, I didn't see him anymore. But last week, not this Friday, Friday before, July 17, 2 FBI special agents showed up to the door and they had conversation with me, and I can't think of anything else except the book.
Interesting. I've been in the US for how many years? 30 years. The only time they contacted me, it was because of the assassination of Dr. Khalifa, to get information about who could be murdering him. And regarding me, none so far. And I am very also outspoken regarding politics and issues.
Right.
It does surprising.
Yes, it does have, the book has some areas that talk about Jewish. It has some areas talk about Christianity. It does have some areas about Muslims in large, that how the religious leaders of all these 3 groups have lured their constituents to the point that people cannot see better. They can see the fact, what it says in the Quran, but they have a hard time to believe it. You telling the Christians to follow the Sabbath on the 7th day of the week? Absolutely. I mean, I went to great detail to explain that how Christianity have gone wrong because the Roman Catholics, they choose during the time of Constantine to adopt the rules of the religious around that time. And ever since, Christians became polytheists instead of being, in fact, there was a war between Christians for 50 years, back and forth. The power shifted between monotheist Christians and polytheist Christians. And finally, it stayed in the hands of polytheists. And ever since, it's in the hand of polytheist Christianity. And Trinity has stayed in place ever since. Right now, you go to the website of every one of these Christian denominations, you type agendas of the church, right on the top it says, we believe in the Trinity. And every other aspect of, let's say, Christians in this case, it's nothing more than adaptation of the religious practices of the old Romans. Every one of the 10 commandments they violate, from the first all the way to the end. From killing to, I mean, this is Christian nation for, that's what they claim. I mean, Bush publicly, Bush Jr. announced it when Pat Robertson was his mentor, and he announced that, yes, this is Christian nation when they attacked Iraq. Is this Christian nation that you attack? They have the biggest military force around the globe, and they attack every single country that they can reach. When it goes to the drug, when it goes to the alcohol, was Jesus was an alcohol drinker? That alcohol is so freely available in this country, especially among the church people. Was Jesus every morning was getting a shot of tequila before he goes to the temple or talking to people? Is this what I understood from Jesus?
I think much more than alcohol. They're turning Jesus to a consumerist capitalist. Jesus, when he rebukes the rich, saying, a camel can enter the needle, but the rich cannot enter heaven. But here it is glorification of the monopoly of few people. Basically, we see 3 persons in the United States owns more wealth than 150 million Americans. And they justify it in the name of Christianity. And you are right, it is an incredible contradiction. The teaching of Jesus, peaceful teaching versus the warmongering, the teaching of Jesus in favor of sharing wealth with the poor people and eliminating the wealth gap. And here for wild capitalism is major different. And the teaching of Jesus promoting monotheism, like in one of the verses, they call him good teacher. He says, don't call me good. God is only good. And many verses like that, and turning it to polytheism, of course. But let's turn back to your statements regarding the commandments in the Bible and how Muslims practice some of them, but not Sabbath. I do agree with you. The position of Sabbath is in 10 Commandments. It is important. And it's also emphasized in the Quran. But regarding circumcision, I have an issue. The issue is, first of all, it is not among the 10 Commandments. And second, I am not 100% trusting the translation or the meaning ascribed to the Bible by rabbis. And today's Bible is the meaning of words. Look at some of the words in the Quran. When you read it in Arabic, you are conditioned to understand the way that the Sunni or Shiite clergymen, how they distort it. For example, the word ummi, we read it in the Quran. If you ask people read today's Arab, they understand as illiterate. But we know that they changed the meaning of the word from Gentile to illiterate. And it creates multiple contradictions. Or the word jizya in the Quran. But if you look at all the translators of the Quran, except few, the traditional translators, they translate as a jizya as an extra taxation on Jewish people or Christians. But we know when we study the Quran, you find that, nope, it has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with wars. It is war reparation. It comes from the root of jaza, means compensation, jaza. And it's nothing to do with extra taxation. Therefore, many similar, many words, the meaning distorted, and the new practices and even faith created after those. When I look at the word, for example, regime, regime means in today's Arabic, if you ask Arabic people or look at the translations of the Quran, the word regime is translated as stoning to death. But when you really use your mind carefully in the Quran, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't mean stoning to death. It means excommunication, because Satan was regimed by God, shaitan in regime in the Quran, it says, means it's not, God did not take stone and stone the Satan to death or Iblis to death. It is God excommunicated, rejected devil from his presence. And therefore, the word regime means excommunication. And then why the Sunnis and Shiites, they distort it as stoning to death, and then they fabricate also lies besides the Quran through hadith, even fabricating stoning the adulterers to death, which is against the Quran. And then we find the root is really comes from rabbis. And in the Bible now you see a lot of stoning to death in especially Leviticus and in some other chapters. And then before even looking at them, I made a guess, an educated guess. I said, Arabic is close to Hebrew. They are basically sister languages, very close. It's like one is the dialect of the other. I said, most likely the word regime in Hebrew is also regime. And the original meaning was excommunication for a certain time or for an undetermined time, excommunicating someone who commits certain crimes or violate the norm of the society. And you separate that person, you say, get out of town for 1 week or 2 weeks, something like that, or don't talk with anyone. That kind of social sanction. And I said it must be that. And when I look at it, the Hebrew, and find out exactly the word is regime. And then I know how it is distorted in Arabic. And I came to the conclusion it is also distorted in Hebrew. Now, based on that, the word circumcision. And I find problem with the circumcision, though Sunnis and Shiites, they follow that one. And I think it is also distortions of rabbis in the Bible. And because the word wolf, which is for use for uncircumcised, in the Quran, it is mentioned in one chapter. Let me see. وَقَالُوا قُلُوبُنَا غُلْفًا بل لعنهم الله بكفرهم فقليلا ما يؤمنون. It is chapter 2, verse 88. And they said, our hearts are uncircumcised, covered. No, it is God who has cursed them for their rejection, for every little do they acknowledge. Now, very interestingly, the word circumcised is used by them for their hearts. It's not about doing surgery on hearts. It is a metaphor. Our hearts is covered or uncovered and that kind of things. I do think, this is my educated guess, the covenant with Abraham, it has nothing to do with doing surgery on children's genitals as if God created everyone in wrong way. There was a design problem in God's creation. I don't think so. I don't think it was about surgery. I think it was related to chastity that God had covenant for them. They would cover their, basically, they would not indulge in promiscuous lifestyle. It was about to be chaste, metaphor, as this metaphor is used for the heart. Circumcised heart or uncircumcised heart doesn't make any sense when you think about circumcision. But when you look at the root of the word, it is about cover, uncover. Most likely there was some distortion. This is my thesis. Distortion regarding the meaning of Gulf and stuff, and later it was distorted by rabbis to this. Therefore, The Quran says, يُحَرِّفُونَ الْكَلِمَ عَنْ مَوَاضِعِهِ. They change the meaning of the word from the context. There should be, as when I translated the Quran Reformist translation, how I noticed major crime against Quran was committed by changing the meaning of the words or phrases, key phrases in the Quran. If you look at the translations of the Quran by Sunnis and Shiites, you see major problems and distortions. And, and therefore the letter words exactly there, but they change the meaning of it, and they create an entirely different religion. And I think similar things happened to the Old and New Testament. I am more familiar with the New Testament. I have written a couple of books on it, and I know how the meaning of some of the words they change, and to create falsehood according to the doctrine of the church. And I do think the same. Therefore, I think don't rush into the conclusion regarding circumcision and a few other, but Sabbath, I think it is clear, and the word sept means seventh day. I don't have that problem in terms of distortion of the things. Therefore, I'm more open to accept Sabbath, but not circumcision or stoning to death. That's it.
May I add something quickly?
Go ahead.
Circumcision was practiced by pagan Arabia as well, both for female and male. And when Islam came, circumcision for females was the one. I don't know if male circumcision was banned, but female circumcision was totally banned by Islam. Until recently, it started finding a revival in the Middle East. In the last 30 years, female circumcision has gone up by a very high amount. So yes, I do agree that there tends to happen re-corruption of the word of God. So Islam came to stop female circumcision in the pagan tribes. And right now, it's the very message that arrived for the Arabs to stop burying their daughters and to stop circumcising their daughters and their sons. I don't know about their sons. I'm not sure about that. But right now, the same Arabs that never circumcised are starting to redo it again. And it just shows you that it's very easy for the laws of the land to get re-corrupted again. And we Muslims are carrying the Jewish traditions. We are the biggest population carrying Jewish traditions. We're the biggest circumcising population in the world right now, when it was not the case. We follow their traditions. We follow what the children of Israel were mentioned in the Quran to stop doing. And I feel that it's very sad that right now, female circumcision in the Middle East has gone up a high amount. I don't think male circumcision is as bad, to be honest, Edip. I think maybe there was a time in the past when it had the hygiene, medical use for it. I don't think it's necessary now. I'll never circumcise my son or my daughter because they shower every day. And obviously not my daughter, but my son, I won't circumcise them even because they shower every day. But I think male circumcision might have had a health benefit in the past. Obviously, female circumcision is just a brutal, disgusting behavior, but male circumcision might have had a health benefit in the past, I think, is what I'm trying to say.
May I have a response to that?
Yes, of course. Ahmed, can you move your the camera a little bit up? Your face is covered.
There is so many subjects has been mentioned, topics been mentioned.
Okay, good, better.
There are many subjects that have been mentioned in this that we don't have enough time to talk about them. I hope we continue over this subject on our future programs. First, I said on chapter 7 of the book of Genesis, it's not, I made a mistake. It's chapter 17, book of Genesis, verse 12. Start from 12. And that's where the prophet Abraham made a covenant. God made a covenant with prophet Abraham, peace be upon him. Second, as Brother Ahmed mentioned, that we are following our ancestor Jews. That's incorrect terminology. We are following the Torah the previous book. Who cares? Group of people in the name of Jews, they follow it or not. Just because they follow it doesn't mean that we want to follow the Jews. Put that out of the equation. That's one of the areas that a lot of Muslims, especially Christians, they try to disengage themselves from the Jews because of some of their negative activities. Who cares who does what? We follow what God has sent us. You see the differences?
Of course, yeah.
Yes. Now, when it goes to circumcision, as Brother Yuksel mentioned, that it doesn't, quote unquote, it doesn't make sense that God made a mistake on his creation. No. The thing is, when God told Adam and Eve, do not touch this apple tree, the fruit of this tree. There are many, obviously, there are many fruit trees in the paradise, in the garden, but he said, do not touch this single tree. Obviously, it doesn't make sense. Why? What's wrong with this tree? Why shouldn't I have this tree? Does it taste different? Oh, da. But that was the sign. Don't touch one tree. No reason to it, just because God said so. Similar to that is in this case, the case of circumcision, that do not do circumcision between your sons and your servants and your male servants and your relatives and so on. And that's exactly another proof that today's Christianity, they're not circumcised. Males are not circumcised because they're not in the nation of the Abraham. They are in the nation of pagans of the Romans. Every single aspect of their living, except with one difference. They have Jesus as their icon. The rest of the practices are from drinking, gambling from lottery all the way to stock markets, warmongers, you name it, Every single one of the 10 commandments has been violated, including Sabbath, by Muslims and Christians. Just because they don't want to be the same way that the Jews are. Who cares who does what? Our obligation is following the command of Allah. What it says in the original book of law, the Torah, and the Quran, which is the Quran, it completes what is being left out of the Torah, what the rabbis, they hide. And it says the Quran confirms the previous scriptures. That means within the last decades, that it's been proven mathematically how Quran is solid from heaven, from divine. It's not the work of men. Dr. Khalifa presented, and of course you, Yuksel, you supported that for many years and wrote many articles, many books to support the number 19, mathematical foundation of the Quran. And the Quran supports the Torah, because once this Quran is solid and it shows it's from divine, all the stories, all the events that is being mentioned in the Quran and is similar to what is being said in the Torah, it confirms all the stories are truth. They are being said in truth. There is nothing to it. There is no abrogation. There is no falsehood to it. That's for now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, Ahmed.
I just had a small question for you, sir. In the Quran, it says, وَلَا تَشْتَرُوا بَآيَاتِي ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا لَا تَجْزِي نَفْسٌ عَنْ نَفْسٍ شَيْئًا. That means that the Quran is hinting, yes, the children of Israel were the chosen people before, but they added unnecessary complications and new laws to the religion that were not there. And they sold the verses of God for money. I mean, and Muslims do this as well, by the way. And what I'm thinking is that circumcision was there as a law of the time because people didn't shower at the time. So it wasn't necessary to do that. I'm circumcised, yes, but I don't want to do it to my children because it's not mentioned in the Quran. And if it was a divine law, I think it would have been mentioned in the Quran, but it isn't, you know. And the Quran mentions that, yes, the Torah and the Injil were books of God, but they also were corrupted and they were played with. Yani, I don't know, I forgot the word in Arabic. So perhaps that maybe circumcision was one of those additions that were not in the original, like stoning was added. Circumcision could have been added, even though, because it was such a widely accepted practice, because it did have medical benefits at the time. When people didn't shower, it protected them from infections and stuff. But right now, people shower every day. It is not necessary to put your child in such trauma, you know? So that's why I think, and it hasn't been mentioned in the Quran. The Quran surpasses time and space. The Quran is a living text that changes with time. But circumcision is no longer necessary, such as old medical techniques of hygiene and stuff. And I think that because it was so common, maybe they added it to the Torah, maybe they misinterpreted some of the things in the Torah and they made it as, oh, this has to be something in the Word of God because everyone is doing it and it makes sense to last forever. But now people shower every day, people have hygiene, people have antibacterial wash. There's no need to do this to children anymore. And the Quran doesn't mention it. That's the highlight. So why redo this?
Yes.
Thank you, Ahmed. I know this will too much. This will be, but I think that in order to discuss this properly, we should have kind of maybe dedicate time to discuss this specifically, this issue, and then have people who have more studies on this subject, because we want to have opposing ideas and listen to opposing ideas and learn from them, not just one-sided, correct? That would be better. What do you think, Najafi? One time we could dedicate for
as
this.
I mentioned earlier, yes, I agree with you. I mentioned earlier that one session is not enough. It has, the book has a lot of different point of interest that it would be the game changer, so to speak. And one of them, another one I'm going to mention, that before I go mention this one, let me answer Ahmad about circumcision, that the Torah mentioned about males circumcision. If the previous pagans of Arabs or whoever they did to the female, that was absolute, or still they're doing it, that's absolutely wrong. So that answers the question right there. Please read the Torah, book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 12 and 2 or 3 verses there. Now, one of the fundamental issues that I discuss in the book is that when you read the Quran from beginning, we read the Quran from page to page, not that pick and choose, jumping this page to that chapter and so on. Now, when we start reading the Quran, except chapter 1, Fatiha, we start reading chapter Baqarah, cow. The 4th verse, pretty much right off the doorstep, right at the beginning of the reading chapter 2, right at the beginning of reading the Quran, it says, we believe in the book that is being sent to the Muhammad, and we believe in the previous books. And this matter has been repeated throughout the Quran numerous times. In fact, if you read one of the verses, same chapter Baqarah, verse 285, one before last, it says, the messenger believes in what was sent down to him, that means Muhammad, from his Lord, or any other messenger, not necessarily Prophet Muhammad, from his Lord, and the believers. They all believe in God and his angels. We believe in God, we believe in his angels, and his scriptures, not one scripture. At the beginning of the verse, it says the Quran as a scripture. Now here it says, and his scriptures. That means Psalm, that means Torah, that means New Testament. This is huge. And not that many people, we have been brought up, including myself, that we should believe in those books as well. We should believe in the Torah, not the lip service. What believes means? Believes means it's something that we read, we accept, and we testify to it. I had a program. I had one. I'm not that far off. I mean, I'm gonna be finished pretty soon. Not when I had the program. I had one of these Catholic priests, the father, that we were talking, discussing different subjects. And at one point he says, "Mr. Najafi, you're talking about Quran. I don't accept the Quran." I said, "Well, I did talk about the Bible too. I did talk about Torah too. Do you believe in Torah that you carry as part of your book? You call it Bible?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, even though I talk about Torah, you don't agree. Now you say you don't accept the Quran. You don't believe in the Quran. Have you read the Quran?" He said, "No." I said, "I suggest you read the Quran and then say whether you believe or you don't believe it." He had nothing to say. When we say believe, you say I believe in the Quran. What does it mean? That means you have read the Quran, you accept it, you understand it, and you try and you do your best to follow it. That's fine. But when you say, "I believe also in Torah," have you ever read the Torah? Have you ever read the book of Psalm? Have you ever read the book of New Testament? In fact, in the Muslim homes, they have brainwashed us to the point that there is no book of Torah or book of Psalms in our homes. They're saying that, no, that's for them. Quran is for us. No, Quran says otherwise. When you read the Quran and then you read the Torah and Psalm, the whole thing makes sense to you. It just opens up the door to the wider world. You understand the whole concept better.
That's beautiful.
You will be given vision to see where the corruption in the Bible happened. It just looks like a highlighter. You can see where it's been because it doesn't confirm with the Quran.
Inshallah, we'll discuss this. Maybe invite rabbis, a few rabbis and few priests, Christian priests. That would be wonderful. But we need to prepare for that. Inshallah, it should be. Mentally, we'll be prepared, and the people who will be on the panel, they should be coming ready to discuss. Anyway, but as I said, we need also to focus on the meaning of some words, the translations, and whether it is also distorted. Najafi, do you know about the Quran and Reformist translation? You have it? Do you have it?
Your Quran?
Yes. My translation, okay. Now, I didn't expect you to bring it. Okay. Now,
it's right here.
Yeah. Here in that one, I have extensive cross-reference to all the New Testament. Maybe even I could do more.
Give me one of them. Give one example.
In the okay,
let's say the same chapter 2, verse 285.
285. Let's see. If you have PDF, I can send you PDF. You will see a lot of cross-references.
Here on your translation, you also say, all acknowledge Allah, God, His angels, His books, not one book, books. We have kitab and kutub, and as it says in Arabic here on 285, well, kutubahi.
Yeah, for example, let me give you many. For example, verse 275 of chapter 2, regarding interest, I give information from the Bible, Leviticus, Psalms, Jeremiah, Exodus, Nehemiah, Isaiah, and just I'm going randomly here. For example, verse 226, and I give also many, I compare it, similarities and differences. For example, chapter 2, verse 219, about intoxicants. And I give references in the Bible. I say the Bible contains contradictory messages regarding the use of wine or alcoholic beverages. The Hebrew equivalent of Quranic word supper is shakar, and it is criticized by the Old Testament, Leviticus, Judges, Isaiah. I give many verses. Wine impairs the health, judgment, and memory. It is 1 Samuel 25, book 25, 37, Hosea, I don't know how to pronounce the name, Hosea, Peter, and inflames the passion according to the Bible. And I give a lot of reference, and leads to sorrow. Wine also cheers God and man and strengthens the body. Therefore, it seems there are contradictory information regarding the wine. But it may not be contradiction. It may be like the Quran says, in intoxicants, there are some benefits and there are some harms. Maybe in some of the verses, kind of telling us about wine makes people happy and stuff, but ultimately it is not good. But this needs to be studied. The reason I talk about this, I ask you to go over these footnotes or endnotes and check whether you can improve it or you have criticism to any of them. What do you think? My translation is very different than all other translations. You don't see in any other translation so much extensive cross-reference comparison with the Bible, Old and New Testament.
One way and the only way to understand the scripture is that we look at the scripture from its own language. It's quite hard for any human being to understand it perfectly because we are the species of adaptation. We get adopted, we get programmed by any programmer within any country that we live in. And since we are living in this part of the world that the alcohol, in this case, alcohol is widely available and there is no sin to it, it's hard to see it the other way around. It's easier for some other people in some other part of the world. Now, let's say gambling, from lottery to stock market, this is the business of livelihood of a lot of people, but its bottom line is gambling. Anything that you don't know the future outcome of it, the outcome of this activity, business activity, it's gambling, pure and simple. Whether it's a stock market or you see the lines and the computer goes up and down, or you roll in the dice in casino. No.
I think you are wrong. I disagree with your definition of gambling. Later we can talk about it. Gambling is, and yes, if you don't know, but if doesn't have contribution to economy, betting on something to win, but as a consequence, there is no really contribution to production of anything good for the society. For example, trade or even manufacturing something and selling, you don't know what will happen, whether you will lose money or not. When you invest your money, in that sense, you are gambling, but this is not the one that is prohibited, because ultimately you are investing something that if it goes well, it will serve people, it will help people. But in gambling, when people bet on each other, there's no really production. Everything, the production is taking each other's money and making money out of thin air. That is.
I agree with you. Yeah. I agree with you if the investor, quote unquote investor, diligent study in that company that they want to put their money on, their shares.
I do agree with you. I think in stock market right now, it is like gambling they do. It has nothing to do connecting with the real economy. The very bet itself create a fake result. Yes. Yeah. Okay. I want to really end. Before ending, I want to say hi to Hijran and Marahil. I don't know what happened to him. Barish is in the same room. Barish is walking around besides Nihal. Hijran, welcome.
Hi,
you came a little bit
thank
late.
you. Yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately, I have some meeting with my friends about my exam, but they delayed it again. And
what is it? What's going on with you?
I got decision recently to take some summer classes, so everything is like very difficult to manage for my assignment for exam. So because one day we have a schedule, one day I'm an A group student, one day I will be in the class in person. So one day online courses, everything is like now like just storm, disaster even,
Hijran is an immigrant, and when speaks English all the time, anytime she speaks English, it's such a good news for me, because I remember when she didn't know how to speak. And mashallah, she's now articulate, she can express herself, she studies. And how many years have you been here? You are in, where are you, in Washington?
No, Maryland. Oh my gosh. Mr. Yuksel, please.
Well, Washington and Maryland, they are just nearby.
It's a very close state.
Yeah, I know that you are not in Washington, somewhere nearby. Maryland, in my radar, it doesn't even register. It's a small CBC. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I have been in the U.S. For 4 years. I'm a student and still trying to finish my education. So I don't want to recommend anyone to learn any foreign language, because it's very difficult experience for me. Even I don't want to say it, but I hate to learn English again, because I work like a devil. It's very difficult to improve your academic skills. So it's not like if you want to study in the US, you have to prepare your English, you have to improve all your skills, and you have to also forget whatever you know from your past. I don't know, it's very difficult to adapt the culture, American culture. Still, I'm struggling about it. And I have just one motivation in the US to continue my education. That's it. And having very good people around me, such as Edip Yuksel. Thank you. That's it.
Well, I mostly see you very positive, very optimistic, but today it seems you are down. Really, I see you negative. Come on, girl.
Maybe I have too many assignments. That's why.
Yeah, I know. I really, you are right now unusually pessimistic and overburdened. Then shut up. Just don't talk now.
Okay. I my mouth.
Don't exude negative energy to people.
Sorry for that.
I am a chronic, very unrepentant optimist. If I see a molecule in the bottom of the glass, I say, wow, there are these many Avogadro's number atoms, molecules in this.
You introduced me so positively, but I did negatively. I'm so sorry.
Come on, tell me, you have a house right now, you have food, and you don't have fear that aeroplanes, jets will bomb in your house, correct?
No,
there are so many positive things. You have air you're breathing. Yeah. Great. Just don't complain much.
More importantly,
today I'm so sorry.
Healthy. More importantly, you and everyone's healthy, and that's a blessing from Allah.
MashaAllah, that's great. Yeah. Well, even health is gone. I think the best blessing is coming into existence and have promise from God that he will resurrect us. And if we are good people, if we serve him alone, and God means all the beautiful attributes, then we will get eternal life. And therefore, that is the biggest, the word big is not enough to describe it. It is eternal salvation. Therefore, health I am going to lose, no problemo. I will not have any complaint. God, this is my promise to God. I have very difficult things in my life. Some people, they were very complaining about the situation. I don't. And therefore, I think that when you know the whole picture, when you look at it, in this small picture, a little trouble, it is really little trouble. All the trouble in earth, I do think, compared to eternity, it is nothing. We over-exaggerate. When we evaluate the things in the context of eternity and the promise that we will have, therefore in this world, well, death will come, absolutely, welcome, no problem.
Yeah,
But I enjoy every moment of this life. If I see problems, there must be problems. There must be goodness and problems, how I react to both things. With goodness, I should appreciate it and share it with others. And for badness, I should also learn to say, okay, I have to be patient and I have to overcome it. And inshallah, I will go back to my Lord. With this state of mind, if you look at the things, I do believe and argue that you'll be very strong. And a lot of things that we feel upset, it is because in our mind, we have unrealistic expectations. We want in this world dunya means lowest universe. We are thrown here, we are sent here, not for reward, because according to God's word, we did a mistake, we did commit a sin, we did something against God. And therefore we are sent here, all of us, even messengers, prophets, they were not very nice people. According to God, if God wanted to punish us for our crimes, God says, not a single creature would be alive on earth, even messengers, prophets, and saints.
Yes.
And therefore, we are too much expectation from this world. This world is deliberately created with troubles, with entropy. Imagine that, I know it is a very not good examples, but if you are going to manufacture a car company, before putting in the market, you test this car in very harsh conditions. Put it in desert or in a very cold place and run it in all these things, how it reacts. We are sent here, how we react to events around us. We are a reaction machine. Therefore, if we have realistic expectation, this world is a testing area. We'll be tested with blessings, with misery. But the impact of the misery on us or blessing on us, it is the one we might have some control on it. And I have seen people get blessing, they blew it. Instead of appreciation and sharing with others, they go crazy, they become hedonistic and hurting other people, arrogant and wasteful, and sometimes they lose their peace of mind, they commit even suicide. They have everything that other people think, wow, these people have everything, but no, they don't have appreciation of the blessings. And the same with misery. And some people, you see, they go crazy, they are very upset. You say, my God, they have so much that I don't have. And the little things they have in their life, they are so they are complaining about that because it is in our mindset. I give you this example. Let's say a decent house in the United, a median house, 3-bedroom with air conditioner, with even a little yard. Give it to 2 people as that you will live in this house, the condition that you will live in this house. One person will be celebrating, this is the best news in the life, if that person or family is a homeless family, imagine. They will be very appreciating that house. But another person may be very unhappy, become unhappy and miserable because They lived in their lives in a mansion, in a huge mansion, very luxurious, by the sea. And therefore, for them, this is bad. But therefore, their expectation define their reaction to this, the same house. And the same with us in our lives. There are bad things happens. Trust me, if you get lemon, if you have mindset, turn lemon into lemonade. And in every bad things, you can find some goodness, good lessons learned from it, or try to look at it that way. God will provide you with something. And therefore, forgive me for that. I empathize with you, Hijran, but yeah,
right.
I think that you have maybe unrealistic expectation that everything will go smoothly. No, there could be even worse than that. Okay, this happened. No, not the end of the world. Let's say I lose everything. This house, these things. I should not lose my peace of mind. Millions of years, humans lived in caves, in jungles. They slept on the trees. They didn't have these houses and air-conditioned stuff. They enjoyed life. They could. And if I don't, it is because of my false expectation. I become dependent to the things. And I know there are few things very essential for life, and that's difficult to deal with it. But a lot of things that we become unhappy for, they are really not necessities of life. We become too much dependent of many, many unnecessary things. We exaggerate them, and we become slaves, and then we get hurt by them. Sorry for that. I didn't want to preach to the choir. I know that most of you are aware of this, and therefore remembrance of God and Creator, and hoping that in this world we will be free person, honest person, righteous person, and ask guidance and help, patience from God. And God do not burden us with something that we cannot carry. And have this prayer. I don't want to become, may God forgive me if I sound arrogant. And I ask God's mercy to help me to be always happy. I consider myself the second happiest person on earth. And I want to die as the second happiest person on earth. And I hope that every one of us do that. It is really a state of mind.
Who's the first happiest person?
I leave it open in order not to be fighting over the first place with people. It's open for you. Go ahead. It is. Anyway, mashallah. God bless you, people. It is a blessing that we meet from where? Kazakhstan, Los Angeles, Oregon, New Jersey, and Cairo, and you know, a small, here it is, group, but from all around the world. Mustafa Cengiz, where are you from?
Selam Edip abi. I'm from London.
Oh, we have from London too, Mustafa Cengiz, and Rahil was from New Jersey, and he's gone now. And we have Üstün, he left. He was.
I'm here. I'm listening in.
Who?
Marahil.
Ah, Marahil, you are there. I'm glad that you are there. You didn't talk much, and you don't have your video too.
Yeah, I'm multitasking.
Oh, you have face.
Yeah.
And are you married still? You married 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I'm married. I have a 16-month-old. I just put him to sleep right now. I was gonna put him on video too.
Mashallah.
And another one expected, inshallah, by February.
And what name did you give to the first one?
Mikhail.
Mikhail?
Yeah.
Ah, Mikhail. Mashallah. Mirahil. You wanted him to rhyme with your name. You.
Yes.
You selfish. Mirahil. Mirahil is a very strange name. Do you know that? It is.
It's actually Arabic.
I know it is Arabic, and it is. You are from Bangladesh or Pakistan?
I am from Bangladesh. Yes.
Bangladesh and Pakistan have very unique names that in Turkey we don't have, like Ziaul Haq, and some very strange names. And Mrahil means what? Rahala means
it's a stages.
Of resting, stages.
Yeah, stages. It's literal meaning in Arabic.
Yeah, mashallah, very nice. Your beautiful name. Don't misunderstand me.
No, of course not. I get your sarcasm.
It is unique. It is a very different. Anyone want to have? I want to quit this one within about 3 minutes. And Nihal did not talk much.
I'm good. I don't have too much to share today.
You have a lot, and but this woman, I am so sometimes admiring your patience that you let this man talk all the time. You just quietly listen, bear with them.
And also, I can say I share the same emotions with Hijran because I'm also an immigrant in here, and it's been like 3 years. And every time I start to speak, especially Americans, white Americans say, "Oh, you have an accent. Where are you from?" And it's like I'm getting stigmatized or something. Okay, I'm an immigrant, so what's the deal? So,
well, if I were you, perhaps.
Nihal, I had the same issues last week when I had a presentation. And then I point this situation about the immigrant students. I told them, please, you shouldn't ask this question if you heard someone has an accent. So where are you from? Don't point me. Don't point at me, please. And I said, I'm begging everyone, please. I said it in my presentation. Even, Mr. Yuksel, we have this problem too. We are not unequal with the American students. Look, the Turkey doesn't have a very easy education in a high school, even in elementary, even in middle. So they didn't accept my math score or my math grade. They said to me, even I attend college in the Turkey too, but they say, Hijran, you don't have a SAT, you should prepare again. That's why I feel just again and again, it's like discrimination, about everything, about your grade, about your language, about your skill. My last assignment, I write down like 15 pages, and it's all of them academic, right? You have to do it. So still, they say, Hijran, yes, I know, I am immigrant. Thank you so much. Don't tell me this again and again, or don't punch my face about my moment, whatever. So Nihal has the same problem I ever say to him.
Yeah, I'm trying to get in the graduate school, but they say my college GPA is not enough. Yeah. And you have to improve it. Like how? And you're accepting with the same grades and the US if you have the US citizenship. So right now I feel like I'm stuck and it's not improving. I'm doing some research, but the thing is not like improving. All I have some sort of work experience I can show when I go somewhere else. At least I can say that.
Niha, I just have one advice about it. Do not give up about it, because at 2 university they refused my application. Okay, and then I just searched and I just searched other university which one can accept me, because I had a really valuable excuse about my bad grade. Okay, I mean it's a bad grade, but if you get this grade in the US, they will pass you. But from your country, can you imagine, Mr. Yuksel, they are not treating us as American students. So I don't know how many how many petition I give them to accept me to university. So even university is not like free, you know. You have a money, but it doesn't work for you if you're an immigrant student. So even the problem is if you're F1 students, they don't look at your any grade. F1 students means the students provide maybe 50,000 or more than 50,000 a year, but we are not this not this level, because we will not pay as a international F1 students. So that's why, Mr. Yuksel, I had today psychology students.
I will talk to you, inshallah, on the phone.
Yeah.
After this one, we'll talk. And I want to finish this one with one of my experience at the university campus. How last year, it's not last year, several months ago, I went there, I talked to students on the campus outside, of course. And then there was a preacher there. When I was not there to talk that time, but I see a preacher preaches the students who are in lunch, having lunch, sitting on the basically lawn, and he was telling them nonsense. Basically, I couldn't resist. Some students who knew me, they came to me, Edip, go ahead. And then while I talked, and then he came to me, he asked me, where are you from? And let's see whether you can hear it. I share you this one. The voice of it, how can I make it heard? Let's see whether you can hear. Do you hear it? Did you hear the sound of it?
Not really, but I already watched this one.
Oh, no, the others, do you hear it? Did you hear it? When I showed you a moment.
No.
No sound. No.
Did you hear?
Sound.
Do you hear?
Nope.
We can't hear. I can't hear.
You cannot hear. How can I make it to be heard? Hold on. Oh, here. Hold on. Pause. Go on. Disable person. Why did hide floating live or no? Disable person. Annotation meeting. Stop it. Share computer sound. Okay. Now let's see.
To Christ as your Lord and Savior. What country are you from?
I am from planet Earth.
You are from planet Earth. And I am also from planet Earth.
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, he wanted basically to emphasize that I am foreigner. He wanted to connect with the students based on xenophobia, because over there I refuted his lies in the name of Jesus. And then he comes ask me, where are you from? Of course, he expected me to say, I am from another country. He knew from my accent. I said, I am from planet Earth. And he started making fun of that, but that was beautiful. Anyway, okay, take care. Go ahead.
Can I say something else? I will not give up about my education.
Inshallah, you will not give up.
Yep, I'm a fighter. I will not, the system is, I don't care. Just say, okay, this is the simple barrier in front of me. I will jump on them. That's it, okay?
Hold on. How old are you? I know you don't ask this question to women.
Oh, no. Okay. I'm 33 years
33.
Old. Yeah.
And did you study first year of university or not yet?
I did. I did last year.
Okay, great. In fact, you are in the same, almost similar position than I am. I came to the United States at age 30, 31, and I started everything from zero. In fact, I took GED here. I had college education in Turkey, but not finished. And my college, my right to go to college was banned. I was prohibited to go to college after prison. I got out from prison because I was political dissident. And then when I came to United States, I started like you after age 30. And therefore, don't give up and don't just be resistant, God willing, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Take care.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
God bless you. Thank you very much. See you next week. Inshallah, we'll meet next week.